I was very intrigued that of the problem solving aspect of that, like understanding how something worked and then being able to figure out what was wrong with it and then make a repair on it. And then high school, I was a little unmotivated, we'll say, through high school. It really just wasn't my jam. I was more into hanging out and building relationships, and then actually, I could go down the rabbit hole on the schooling system, but I wasn't really a huge fan of memorizing something and then testing on it. But I do appreciate the school and the teachers. I do, but it wasn't kind of my deal. So when I got out of high school, I was during high school, I was working in the kitchens. So I probably worked at every chain restaurant you could ever think of as a line cook. And I look back at that, and it's actually taught me a lot of things of proper order. So, you don't just make the mashed potatoes till they're complete and then start cooking the chicken breast. There's a timing order to get everything out at the same time, obviously. So I do appreciate all the stuff that taught me. I was actually going to be a culinary chef. So I went into, my mom kind of not forced me, but poked me a little bit to go to college. So I was kind of looking through BSc, and they had this hospitality management program. I was like, great. So I went in there and just basically taught customer service, all that stuff. So there again, stacked on top of some strategic thing. It all worked out. But right before I was going to graduate, they shut the program down, and I kind of got thrown from high school. So it was like this whole school thing kind of obviously wasn't my calling card. It just kept not working out for me. So I left high school or not high school, when I was finishing college, I got a job at Olive Garden as a culinary assistant. So I was kind of in a leadership role. And I always liked leadership. I was intrigued by it. I like helping people and making them successful. Well, Olive Garden went through some new management. My buddy was the kitchen manager, and I was making quite a bit of money at that time. I think I was making almost 20 some bucks an hour as a line cook back in 2012, which was unheard of.
Yeah, that's very good.
So the new management came in, and I kind of got screwed out of my job, similar to you. Dad was working at TSS at that time. And so I went to work with them as a pavement marking and stripes on the road. And I worked there probably 7-8 years. I had a leadership role. I had a project management role. I had to get the job ready and all that stuff. And all of a sudden, the last 2 years, I kind of felt like I hit a ceiling. Yep. There was no advance for me. And I've always been the type of guy who just wants to continue to grow and get better. If you're not growing, you're dying. And I just felt like this was kind of dead end. So after that, I was talking with this guy from high school. We really didn't hang out in high school, but we knew each other. Mm-hmm. And he was working out at a property management company. And he's like, why don't you come, on as a maintenance technician, and you can work here and whatever. So got an interview, got on with him, and I was like, this is really cool. He kind of, went through a little onboarding, and then I enjoyed solving problems for people. Looking at the work order, I felt like I was very organized with paperwork and all this stuff. And it was very cool to me how you just had this constant rolling script of repairs to do. Yeah. And it was like, I'm very organized with my tools and all that stuff. So it was cool for me to like problem solve constantly. Every day it was a new issue. Well, our day would start off in the office. We'd be talking with the property manager and the leasing agent. We'd hang out for, hour or so. And then it was straight to Lowe's. And we both did the old 2-man part run, which I cannot stand.
What do you mean? That's highly efficient.
So we'd do the old 2-man part run, and then we'd hang out at Lowe's and go shopping and goof around and mess around. Then we'd go to lunch. Roll right into lunchtime. That'd be about an hour, 2 hours of lunch. And then we'd head back to the office. We'd grab a couple work orders and do a work order or two. And that was the days that I was kind of under his wing. When I was solo, I was actually getting work done, but when I was under his wing, and there was just this repeating pattern of, I call it chicken shit leadership, of just like, just no opportunity, no advancement, no go light.
It was a time burner.
Yes, it was no, so I just felt like I could do it better. And one day I went up and fixed this lady's garbage disposal. It was a work order that had been in our queue for 2 to 3 months.
Wow.
And went up there and fixed it, and she started crying. And because she couldn't use that side of her sink. Yeah. So she started crying that she got this amenity back. And I really went out in the truck, and this was an afternoon, and I started reflecting on it, and I was like, man, I can't believe that I'm a maintenance technician for 300 doors and all the problems and issues that I'm solving. And I was like, I just know there's a need out there in the whole town that this is needed. So I sat there and was just I liked property management. I liked being the maintenance tech. I liked all that part of it, but I really didn't like the job, right?
Yep.
And so I sat there, and all of a sudden I'm like, well, I can just do this. So I came up with this Fixitall, and the logo came to me and everything. It was just like this light bulb moment. And I was like, so I had a napkin from lunch, and I actually drew the logo out right on the napkin right there.
There you go. Napkin plan.
And I went home all excited, and I'm like, to the wife, I'm like, hey, I'm going to start this Fixitall thing. I'm going to quit my job. I'm going to go do this entrepreneur.
No fear at all.
And she's like, you can't.
Yeah.
You literally cannot do that. And I was like, why not? And she's like, well, what if it doesn't work? And I go, well, what if it does?
Yep.
And so we kind of went back and forth, and I was like, if all else fails, the worst that's going to happen is I'm skilled. I'm a good worker. I can go get a job. So that's the worst that's going to happen.
100% the entrepreneurial journey right there.
So I started doing this thing, and just like how every entrepreneur, you have your network of people that want to support you. So, she knew a lot of people, I knew a lot of people. And so I had all these leads coming, and everything was all good. I can have a whole episode on all the things that were done wrong there.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. We'll get to that.
One day I was like, I should get a website. Out of all the chaos and everything that's on fire, I need a website. And so I went into this website place and met a guy, and we started talking. I told him my plan, how I wanted to kind of do this home maintenance thing for homeowners, like a re-evolving subscription based, like we come and fix your home. And he actually had, his mother was actually in a situation that needed that. So I hit a kind of a pain point with him. I wanted to help maintain properties as well for property managers. So I wanted to do unit turns and maintenance, kind of a one-off maintenance deal. So I told him all this plan. I wanted to help, kind of this handyman remodel, all these ideas, right? And so he had his team sit there. There was probably 5 or 6 people in the room. And when I left, they were like, we'll call you in the morning with what we think. And he called me personally, and he's like, hey, I want to go into business with you. What do you think about that? And I was like, yeah, that's cool. I'm thinking he has all this technology. He has all this stuff that can complement me. And he had some properties as well. So I went back in the next day, and we talked, and he goes, well, here's the deal. I don't want anything to do with remodeling, construction, like none of that.
Yep.
So you keep this Fix-It-All thing that you have, you keep that. And then we're going to birth this property management company and this home service thing. So we sat there for, this was like probably a half a year project, just meeting and going back and forth. And we were at the final day. We're like, okay, this is the name day. We're going to come up with the name. And we sat there, and we had hundreds of names, and we put them into the Secretary of State system. We put them into website domains. We put them in all this stuff, and nothing was panning out. We had like Compass, we had Sphere or something. We had all these different things. And he basically said, I really like the name Legacy because of the legacy that I'm trying to build for my children and all the stuff that I'm trying to build up. And we typed it in, and it was born, Legacy Property Solutions. So